Hello, I'm Jeff Cavins, and today we're looking at the readings for the 26th Sunday in Ordinary Time. You, like myself, are all subject to temptation, and we go throughout our average day. There are times where we can be tempted. There are activities that we could be involved in, or people we're talking to, things we can say that would really cause us to stumble. In this week's reading, we're concerned with stumbling, but we're also a little bit more concerned this week of causing little ones to stumble. In the gospel reading in Mark chapter 9, it says, "Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea. And if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life maimed than with two hands to go to hell, to the unquenchable fire. And if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life lame than with 2 feet to be thrown into hell. And if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God with 1 eye than with 2 eyes to be thrown into hell, where the worm does not die and the fire is not quenched." Well, there's the reading for this week, and it talks about 3 things that you might want to cut out. Now, literally, we're not to take this literally, and that is that you're supposed to pluck your eyes out, or you're supposed to cut off your hand, or cut off your feet. But it is pointing to something that we can do something about, and that is the temptation to sin. Now, if you look at the 3 things that are spoken of in the reading this week, hand, feet, and eyes, there is a way to apply this to our lives in a real practical way. In the course of your daily life, there are things that you do with your hands that maybe would lead you to sin. And what we're called to do is not necessarily literally cut off our hand, but to cut those things out of our life that would cause us to sin. The second thing is with our feet. Our feet can be symbolic of where you go. If where you go causes you to sin, that part of town, that club, this place, that person's house, cut it out of your schedule. Cut it out of your schedule and do away with it. The third is your eyes, and perhaps this is the one that is most tricky for modern man. It's what we consume. It's what we watch. It's what we give our attention to. If the internet, for example, is causing you to sin, what the gospel is saying is it would be better to cut this out of your life than to go for eternity into hell. So these 3 things are very important. It's what you do, it's where you go, it's what you consume. If these things are tripping you up and causing you to be seriously tempted to sin, and I dare say fall into sin, it's best to aggressively deal with these. There will be a day, if you don't deal with them, where you will suddenly realize it would have been better to go into heaven with 1 eye, 1 foot, 1 hand, than to experience what I'm experiencing with 2 eyes, 2 feet, 2 hands. And so let's make those tough decisions in our life. Let's walk in righteousness. Let's walk with Christ and make those decisions.